Good evening and welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. Please remember, if you're enjoying these videos, to like, share, and subscribe. Let's grow our community so everybody can listen to me rant and rave and chit chat about the stupidity I see in the world these days. It's always there, it just seems to be rearing its ugly head these days. However, today's chit chat is a little sideways, sort of. I was listening to something earlier, and it was Trump screaming about America first, America first, America first. And then I also been watching videos about the whole thing about as we're confronting the tariffs that he wants to put forward. That the push that came from the federal government, which I felt was very, very appropriate, is this has to be Team Canada. That we have to approach this as one unit together on the same page, because if we don't, we're divided. He's going to end up dividing and conquering, and he'll wangle his little ways into whatever he wants. And so as I got thinking, I thought, well, what's the difference between America First mentality and Team Canada? And part of it came up with when we sit there and say, in this case, America First, it takes it that the American team is more important, it has to come first, and it's more important than anybody else. So if we bring it down to something simpler, instead of one country versus another, if we think about it from the housing market versus environmentalists, since I live in the GTA Hamilton area, a certain amount of group of us are very, very protective on the Niagara Escarpment. It's a identified world biosphere, so it has been identified from the United Nations as a biosphere that's unique in its own making. So we have rattlesnakes you won't find someplace else. We will find salamanders that we won't find that are unique to the area. So we are very protective of that. And if it gets to be the housing community, those people that want more housing, they're going first. We need to have housing. We don't care about that. We need housing, and housing is more important. Or us people that are environmentally oriented and want to protect the Niagara Escarpment are going to be that first. So it gets to be one group against the other. And when I was thinking about this, I'm going, well, that's what we have. We have the mentality that says, I'm sitting crooked, that it has to be the U.S. first. Let's make the U.S. great again. And as one American said, when was the U.S. ever great? And I won't knock that. Yes, the U.S. has been great and is a powerful country, etc., etc. But it was just the gentleman's comment about when was it ever perfect. That's sidetracking. Where with the Team Canada mentality is we need to work as a team. So if you'll notice, the Canadian mentality has us working as a team, not just within the 10 provinces and the 3 territories all working together as one, but also with our allies, which then got me onto what this chit chat is really about. And that would be, I'll flip my pages here, keep my little notes. 10 things that Canadians do right. Now you can go online and you can say, oh, that they have ketchup chips and nobody else has them and that's perfect and that's fantastic. Or we invented poutine and etc., etc. And I wanted to find 10 things. Or it didn't have to be 10, but I wanted to find some things that as the character, the personality of Canadians as a whole, because there's always going to be the person who breaks the mold and it's not the same, that we do right. Not necessarily better than, but that we just do, from my perspective, we do right. And one of them is the thing we are obnoxiously known for, is being polite. And yes, we are polite. We are obnoxiously polite to the point that if you're in a car accident and you come up and say, oh, I'm so sorry, in other countries, that can be seen as a concession of fault and can be used against you. In Canada, there's actually a law on the books that cannot be used against you if you say that in an accident. If you just go, oh, I'm so sorry, that just means you're sorry that the accident happened. Not that it's your fault, but you're just sorry that it happened. And so there is actually a book, a law in the books that says you can't use that as a confession of fault, which I found stereotypically Canadian, but unique. Okay, but take that politeness and take it the next step. We as Canadians don't have a problem waiting in queues. Neither do the Brits. Having lived in England is common sense. People will give you the really strange look 10 times if you try to butt in. And if you go to the airports and there's the long things up and down, us Canadians will literally follow them. Even though there is nobody in the pathway, the little path that they've made with the ropes, etc. There's nobody there. You could easily jump over them. Us Canadians will do this. We'll go back and forth and back and forth because we feel that it's the right thing to do. So we do it. We will say we're sorry. We will say thank you. Whether we think it or not, we just do it because we feel it's the right thing, and it's ingrained in us. So that was number one, because it's the most obvious, right? Everybody else does or thinks it's unique and special and identifies us as being annoyingly Canadian. Number two, we don't go around boasting about our achievements. I literally have to teach this in high school because I've had high school kids go, well, the US, they have all this to be proud of. We don't have anything to be proud of. And I go, yes, we do. No, we don't. I have to rhyme things off because we as Canadians don't naturally go around boasting about our achievements. Insulin, gas masks, zippers, garbage bags. These are all Canadian inventions. But we just don't go around ranting and raving and saying, aren't we fantastic? Look what we invented. We just go, somebody points it out and go, yeah, I guess so, right? That's fine. We don't boast about it. I've had to literally tell kids that these are the things that we've invented. These are things that we need to be proud of. Vimy Ridge, which everybody said it was sort of a disaster, but everybody said it can't be done. And the Canadians went, we'll try, we'll go for it. And it made us, militarily, made us a nation. Dieppe. Yeah, we'll go for it. I ended up with an acquaintance, bless his soul, who did Dieppe and was on the last crew coming off the boats when they said retreat. So he turned around. The friend in front of him got on the boat. Bert was unable to get on the boat, so he was taken as POW with the Germans. So, but we don't go ranting and raving and saying, oh, look, aren't we fantastic? So that was one. We don't boast about we'll acknowledge them, but we don't boast. 3, we can laugh at ourselves. And for me, that's one of the biggest assets anybody or any nation can have. Check out the memes of us sunbathing in the snow. Of, wives in the sun, sunbathing, and the shadow line is there, and the husband's sitting with his winter coat in the snow. RCMP officers walking up to a Timmy's drive-thru on their horses. We have no problems laughing at ourselves, which is a wonderful, wonderful trait. So we mess up. We got no problems telling the world we messed up, but we can laugh at ourselves, and that's a good thing. Number 4, we are very hardworking people. It's like, keep calm, carry on. We do just like the Brits do. Okay, that's shitty, that's crappy. Okay, let's get busy and work at it. So the tunnels going through, so we're talking more than 150 years ago, the tunnels going through the Rocky Mountains to get the railroad across. Digging up the Welland Canal. Nowadays, it's getting out and trying to come up with solutions to the problems without ranting and raving and screaming. But think about Liquidation Marie in Montreal. She saw a problem. She got together. Here's some ideas. Let's do it. Didn't make a big hullabaloo about it. We just got busy. And my comparison is we are the beavers. That's our little animal, national animal, is the cute little beaver in the back of our knuckles. That's what we are. We just go in and go, oh, a dam needs to be built. Let's get busy and we'll go build the dam. We don't go yelling and screaming about getting everybody to help us. We just go do it because it needs to be done. So we go and do it. Are there individuals out there? Yes, that don't. But generally speaking, yeah, that's just Canadians. We do it because it's got to be done, so go do it. And that rolls into we're there for our allies. Now, in World War One, we were still part of England in that if England said we're going to war, we had to go war with them. But we were already sitting there waiting. And as soon as the king at the time said, okay, that's it, bam, we were in there. World War II, we were ready before King George VI said, okay, we're going to war. They were already building up the troops. They were already building ships. They were already getting planes together without a hesitation because our allies in Europe needed us. We are there for our allies, 150%. And the one that a lot of goes by Tyler Buckhead, and the first time he watched this, he just about flipped. He said, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And everybody who was involved went, well, of course we did. And it happened all across Canada, but it was 9/11. And the one that got the big hullabaloo, because it actually was made into a play, was Gander. And when the terrorists were flying and they realized the U.S. was being attacked by terrorists, they closed the airspace. And of course, they had all these planes. They had to land someplace. And the closest airport that was big enough to land planes that big was Gander. Small little town in the middle of the Newfoundland Island, and landed all these planes. And as soon as they started landing them, the news got out this was happening, and everybody in Gander and the community surrounding came, okay, well, these people have to be housed. I can take, and I can take, and I can take. And they had things set up. So by the time these guys got off the plane, us Canadians had stepped up, arranged for sleeping arrangements, arranged for food. Doctors were taking a very, very pregnant lady, like 8.5 months, into his own personal home. He says, I'm not letting you. You're coming into my home. She stayed with them. And these are friendships that continued on. Same thing happened in Vancouver. Now, it didn't happen in Toronto, but that's because Toronto's sort of in the middle of the continent. And so any planes that had to be redirected were going to coastal airports. But nobody in Vancouver paused. Of course they have to get them down here. Let's take care of them. Now, Gander makes a bigger splash because it was a smaller community. Vancouver, they've got all of Vancouver, the city of Vancouver. That's why Gander made a bigger thing. Halifax, same thing. But everybody in Canada just stood up for our allies because our allies needed help. And so we did it. We didn't ask. We didn't say, oh, look at us, aren't we wonderful? We did it because our allies needed it. That's Canadians. We just do it because it has to be done. We can also admit, number 6, is that number 6 or number 5? Yeah, this is number 6. We admit when we mess up. And then we do it in very typical Canadian fashion. And unfortunately, I can't remember the exact platoon that did it, but there was an army group and an army base that was in one of the wars, and I don't even think it was World War II, I think it was after, that completely messed. Like, the scandal was disgusting. Everybody was punished, the whole 9 yards. They closed down that base out of embarrassment. It was like, and any medals were melted. Like, you name it. Was the stereotypical, and they admitted to it. They screwed up. Residential schools. The Canadian government has come forward and said, we messed up. They'd admit it without, we beat Biden to it. We've done it before in the past where something happens. We admit we messed up. Can we make it perfect? No, but we can at least admit we messed up and not try and gaslight other people. So that was number 6. Number 7, when something needs to be done, we just go and do it. It doesn't matter if it's our people. So there were massive fires in Australia a few years ago where you'll see all the cute little koala bears were burnt, etc. The Canadian firefighters didn't even hesitate. They were in those planes and they were down to Australia. Bam, down there. And they just tell us what we need to do and go do it. The hurricanes in Florida last year, there was literally spare ambulances sitting, waiting in Niagara Falls and Fort Erie for them to get the thumbs up, for them to drive full force down to Florida to help out. Nobody asked them. They just saw that there was a problem. So us Canadians did what Canadians do best. That has to be done. Let's go. We're gone. Right? 2013, we had a massive ice storm go through the GTA area. And us in the country were the last to get our hydro back and our cable back. And it was Christmas Day. And this, maybe not, maybe it was the 24th, but it was like right around Christmas. And these guys came up my driveway and I went, can I help you guys? It was Niagara Falls Cable Company. They heard that we still didn't have our cable up. So they literally loaded their trucks and came up from Niagara Falls to where I live in the Hamilton GTA area and went to Cogeco, who was the guys taking care of the cabling, and said, where do we need to fix? They gave up their Christmas because they knew that was us people in the area that didn't have cable and they wanted to get up. And I went, you guys, like, it's only cable. But you guys need it. And so there you go. Fires in Alberta. Firefighters right across Canada went flying out. Fires in northwestern Ontario. Firefighters from all across Canada will come barreling. They're not ordered. They just need it. They volunteer. Make sure they leave enough in their province in case they need them. But the spares go out there to fight. They don't even hesitate. Number 8, we problem solve. If there's a problem, we sit down and we come up with a solution to the problem. So, Tidal Energy, Funday Park, they have figured out how to get energy from the tidal waves that are going in and out of Funday. Solar, wind, like I've said before, that there are solar panels and wind turbines all around the Niagara Escarpment, in just all over the place, and they've figured out how to make it work. No bells, no screams, just, okay, we got a problem, let's solve it. Okay, Dr. Banning and insulin, we have a problem, let's solve it. Number 9, we're humble, guys. As much as thank you, if people didn't always like him, but dear old Pierre Trudeau did teach us Canadians, it's okay to be proud to be Canadians, and it's okay to tell people that we're Canadians. It's not a big deal. We should be proud of who we are. We have a wonderful country, and we have all these wonderful things. There's nothing wrong with being proud of it. But at the same time, we're humble. We don't go around bragging, going, look at us, aren't we humble? Aren't we fantastic? We just, it's Canada. Sometimes I think we underestimate exactly how fantastic our country is. I mean, I know we're all going through a rough time right now, but so is the whole world. Number 10, and this is our biggest asset as far as one of our biggest assets, is we are proud of our resources and natural beauties, and we want to protect it with provincial and national parks. Algoma, Banff, Forillon, it's out in the very end of the Gaspé Peninsula. We recognize that this is our greatest asset outside of us ourselves, the far north, and we work very hard to protect it and make it take care of it. Years ago, I ran into somebody. I was taking the ferry up off of Tobermory to go to shortcut it up to northwestern Ontario, and I got talking to somebody, and they were just livid because there was being some tourists coming, and they were, instead of following the paths that were there, they were just walking through the bush. And they goes, no, you have to follow the path. No, I don't want to. I want to go that way. No, don't go that way. You're going to disturb the trillions. You're going to disturb this. You're going to disturb that. You're going to disturb all these things. And the people in the Tobermory area that I was talking to, were upset that these people had no respect for the beauty that was there. Right? So, there you go. And going back to solving problems, nuclear energy, I wish we didn't have it, but it is it has a lower footprint than fossil fuels. And Ontario has found a way to store it long term, and has found a way to not only store it in containers long term, but also found a place to bury it. But at the same time, they're working with some information and ideas they got from the US on how to take the wasted uranium that's radioactive and you get more energy out of it and therefore decrease its radioactive life. So it takes less time, get more energy out of it and take less time before it's basically neutral. Anyways, those were 10 things that I sat this afternoon going, these are things Canadians do really well. 1, we're polite. Sometimes obnoxiously polite. Apologize for things we didn't even do wrong. When Trump got elected in 2016, it's the first thing I said, God, I'm so sorry. But it wasn't that I'd done anything wrong. 2, we don't go around boasting about our behavior, or about our achievements. We just, that's who we did that. We don't make a big deal of it. Like I said, to the point I have to teach it. 3, we can laugh at ourselves. Look at the memes out there. They're hilarious. 4, we are hardworking. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts. Job has to be done, we get in there and we do it. Whether it's building up a new military because there's a war coming, for World War I, World War II, etc. Rebuilding our military right now because it needs to be done because we all know what's coming. Now, next one. We are there for our allies. World War I in Vimy Ridge, World War II, Dieppe, 9/11 in Gander, that was my example, but Vancouver went too. Number 6, we have no problems admitting that when we mess up, we accept responsibility. And realize I'm talking about Canadians generally speaking. There's always going to be the idiot out there who doesn't. Number 7, when something needs to be done, we just go and do it. We don't have to be asked. We just go do it. Number 8, we problem solve. Solar. We need more energy in Southern Ontario, so let's get some solar panels going. Let's get some wind going. They needed to get shipping. Shipping can't exactly go over the Niagara Falls, so what they do, they dug up and built the Welland Canals. Now that was a while ago, but still, there's a problem. Let's solve it. Number 9, we're humble. We don't go around bragging. We don't. And even the Americans will admit, we like to boast about how great we are and how fantastic we are. And the only bragging I've ever heard come out of UK is that Prince William once said, us Brits definitely know how to do pomp and circumstance. I don't think that was a brag. I think that was just an acknowledgement. Yeah, we know how to do it. Number 10, we are proud of our resources and natural beauty, and we work very hard to protect it. Provincial parks, national parks. How can we be environmentally friendly? How can we make use of our resources, i.e., forests, without damaging the environment as little as possible and bringing it back to the way it was originally. Anyways, there's a Team Canada ideas and 10 things that Canadians, generally speaking, as a country, do really well. Take care, guys, and have a good day.